Thank you for joining us here on the Neutral Zone. I am Phil Milani, joined as always by my esteemed colleague, my partner in crime. Really, the best way to describe this person is my everything. It's at Aric DiLalla.
Phil, great to be with you on this fine morning. It
is a fine morning.
It's one of the best.
It's one of the best mornings, I would say, because we're here in the studio.
We're here in the studio.
And it's just the two of us.
Yeah, no Ben Swanson, nice. Which is really nice.
It's really
we are
nice.
Joined by some moths flying around, which is almost as annoying as Ben Swanson. Not quite.
Aric, I know it's just right at the beginning of the show, and I feel like I'm sort of off my game a little bit because I just heard an incredible fact before we started recording.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. A grizzly bear.
Yep.
In Yellowstone, it's possible for them to eat 40,000 moths in one day.
One day,
40,000 moths.
I've seen you go through the buffet line here at Centura Health Training Center, Phil, but 40,000 moths.
40,000. Apparently, that's about 20,000 calories.
Oh.
Yeah.
Each moth
half
a calorie?
Yeah. Because they're essentially nothing.
They're nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you told me the other day you were going around your house just getting after them.
You don't want to come visit the DiLalla household because you're not leaving.
You die. But you're not supposed to. I heard that you're not supposed to kill the moths.
I didn't say I killed them. I just said they're not going to leave.
They're pollinating the plants.
Yeah.
So that's important.
Very irritating.
The grizzly bears, 40,000.
Yeah.
That's
a lot.
I was shook.
Almost,
after that.
it's hard to comprehend.
It is.
That number.
It is. Of course, it's been raining a lot here, Aric.
That has to have something to do with it, right?
I think so. It also has to do with why Swanson's not here, because the flannel and the rain.
Oh,
it doesn't
he's just
work
a little
well
moody.
together. Yeah.
He's just kind of sitting by the door with his wood stove and a hot cup of coffee that's...
Because when the flannel gets wet...
Yeah, really black coffee.
Just
kind
dark
of tarry
coffee.
almost.
Yeah, sludge.
Yeah, and he's thinking about his next trip out into the woods, but it wasn't up to come record this podcast.
He couldn't do it today, yeah. So we are missing Ben Swanson.
We'll carry on somehow.
We'll carry on. We've got a good show in store, I think.
I think so.
Aric, the first thing, the Broncos have re-signed... I guess it's a re-sign, right?
Yeah.
Or a new sign. I don't know. But they're bringing back Kareem Jackson.
You've got away with words.
Yeah. I think that...
they did some sort of signing with Kareem.
They signed Kareem Jackson.
Yep. To a 1-year deal.
I think that's a re-sign. It's
Yeah, I think so.
What do you call it if you've re-signed twice?
Oh.
Maybe
re-sign squared.
Sign. Yeah.
You square it?
I'm not sure. But Kareem Jackson is coming
This is like the third time he's done a 1-year deal, right?
Yeah. And we'll talk about the safety position there. Justin Simmons, obviously, one safety, and then the other one.
What's going to happen?
Let's just talk about it a little bit. We'll talk about it. And then the Broncos are just coming off their rookie mini camp.
Yep.
Aric, the guy's out on the field. It was our first time seeing Sean Payton out there, had his visor on,
was that
had a hoodie on.
Was that last weekend?
That was last weekend.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you were.
I wrote it down wrong in my calendar.
You mixed that up. Yeah, I was wondering where you were.
I missed it.
I was wondering where you were. Drew Sanders had that interception, and I was like, Aric, what are you? And then I was like, oh, you weren't
where
there.
is he?
Yeah, you weren't there. But we'll talk about it because the Broncos, they signed 2 players from the XFL. Aric, what do you think about that?
What does XFL stand for?
X Football League, I think. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And that's probably true.
Ben DiNucci?
Yep.
Most people probably know him from Hard Knocks with the Cowboys.
Yes.
I think that's how most people probably, if you're like, I've heard of this guy, that's where it's from.
Yeah.
And, man, he just tore up the XFL league. I mean, he was throwing dimes everywhere.
Dimes.
He was first team All-State. He was putting it wherever he wanted.
We got on the roster now, you got Ben DiNucci, Christian DeLauro, and you got Aric DiLalla. We got the DI, the nice little Italian there.
Is DiNucci DI or DE?
It's DI.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I've been spelling it wrong. DI, that's nice.
Yeah, so
you guys should do a little thing together.
Do a little club.
Yeah,
of course, D
content.
means from.
So he's from DiNucci. He's from Nucci.
Yeah.
And where is Lala?
It's kind of like a place in my head.
Yeah. So, and then Jacques Patrick, a running back from the XFL. He spent some time in the NFL too, right? And,
Florida State guy.
Florida State. And so Broncos bringing in the running back from the XFL. Had a nice little stint there.
Yep.
And so we'll talk about, hey, the XFL, this is a good thing for the NFL. It's allowing players to continue to play if they still need a little bit of development. So we'll talk about that a little bit. And then what else? You want to talk about the Nuggets for a while? Or what do you want to talk about? I don't know.
Maybe.
Could be nice. Could be nice. So, and then, of course, OTAs coming up next week, I believe.
I think so.
So that could be nice.
Wow.
We'll finally hear from some of these guys, some of the players.
I think so, right?
I think that's the plan. Can't confirm or deny.
No.
But we're hoping.
We're hopeful. We're always hopeful.
We're hopeful.
We're always hopeful.
Eric, this is an interactive show.
Oh, man. Here we go.
That's sort of the foundation, the guiding principle of the neutral zone.
A core tenet.
We're for the people, we're of the people.
By the people?
By the people.
Yep.
So tell the people how they can get involved.
In so many ways. You can leave a voicemail at 707-NEUTRAL. You can leave an email at neutralzoneshow@gmail.com. You can tweet at us. I think Twitter's still going.
Twitter is still going.
Still going.
Yeah, that's still away.
At Aric DiLalla with an A. At Phil Milani with a PH. Both, of course.
Non-traditional spellings.
Right. Or Phil, one of our favorite ways. And, man, let me tell you, we got some good content this week. You can go to the Broncos official YouTube channel.
Oh, that's a nice channel.
You go to the Neutral Zone.
One of my favorite channels.
And you leave a comment, and we will read it right here on the air if it's any good at all.
And that's what we're doing right now.
Let's do it.
Cruising through space. Cruising through space. These guys are nerds, and I love it.
Perfect.
Okay. Anthony Bomer. Yes, you guys gave us a pod Monday after the draft, and now a same-day pod for the schedule release. I've always wished you guys did instant reviews instead of having to wait until Thursday when the topics already blew its course. Hoping for more like this.
It's a good point.
That was kind of nice.
Yeah.
I think it was kind of nice.
I mean, of course, in season, Phil, we have 2 podcasts per week.
Exactly. We're always covering.
We're just
always on it.
Can't get anything by us then.
Flicky TV. Flicky TV. I love Phil. He spells it with an F-H-I-L.
Of course.
Eric, E-R-I-C-K. I think there's some purposeful.
I think so. I think they're being cheeky.
Yeah. I love Phil and Eric's banter. Keep up the great content. NZ Bros. Big fan. Jeff.
NZ Bros.
Flicky TV, also known as Jeff.
Oh.
Jesse Caffarel. I like Eric on the Patriots. Quote, they're always around 500. They don't lose football games.
Jesse, they don't lose a lot of football games.
Got it. Yeah, got it.
They just know how to win. You knew what I meant,
Yeah,
Jesse.
I knew we got it.
Everybody knows what I meant.
Okay, we've got an update here from Beach Bums 63.
Of course, if you don't remember, he was potentially going on a date with a Chiefs fan.
Yes.
I think we told him to keep an open mind.
No, I said run.
Oh, I said keep an open mind, I think.
You said keep an open mind. No, I think
first I said to stick her with the tab and then leave.
Yeah, exactly.
But then I said keep an open mind. So what happened?
Okay, love y'all boys. After going on the date and being super competitive, maybe a little too intense, I confronted her about being a low IQ Chiefs fan. Big misunderstanding. She's a Bills fan.
Oh.
I think this one might work out after all.
Is she a low IQ Bills fan or no?
I don't know.
High IQ Bills fan.
High IQ Bills fan, I think.
Wow, that's good to hear.
How do you mix that up?
I don't know.
I don't know how you mix that up.
I don't know. Maybe she said like, "Oh, my team made the playoffs last year," and he just assumed.
Oh, that
it was the Chiefs.
It's possible. What are you going to do on Monday night though this year?
Ooh,
Monday Night Football.
They should. This is what Beach Bums.
Beach Bums 63.
Yeah, maybe they should travel out to Buffalo for what is it? Week 10, I believe. A little Monday Night Football showdown.
Yeah,
that could be really nice.
It could be a little chilly, I think.
Oh yeah, have some chili.
No, the weather.
Oh
yeah, you have wings.
Early November. It could be fine.
You don't know what's
could be fine
there.
The Broncos.
Anything could happen.
That's true. A lot of domes though late in the year.
That's true. Yeah,
That's
to close
true.
out the year.
Yeah,
4 domes.
That's good.
Can you name the domes?
Oh gosh.
Detroit.
Well, you want the actual names? Like
that's Ford Field.
Yeah, SoFi you count for the
SoFi,
Chargers.
Yep.
Allegiant for the Raiders.
For the Raiders.
Which one am I
What's
missing?
the other dome? Who are they playing?
Houston.
There? Houston.
Is that
yeah.
NRG?
I think it's NRG. Yeah, if it's still NRG.
There you go.
Nice, good dome knowledge there, dude.
Thank you.
Good. Julius Duffy weighs in here and says, "I've been married 9 years, and my wife's a Chiefs fan. She stays away from me when and after we play the Chiefs." Smart.
Yeah. Especially how it's gone recently. Very smart.
That's true.
9
Just stay
years.
away. 9
Gosh,
years.
so almost more than half your marriage. The
Yeah.
Broncos have not beaten the Chiefs. That's brutal.
2015, of course, the last time.
Almost the entire marriage,
So, yeah,
huh?
that was 7 years ago.
Gosh, wow. Yikes.
Jerron Washington says, "We have to beat the Chiefs. I'm sick of losing to Mahomes."
It's true. It's a good take.
And this one is from CVC Pharmacy.
Okay.
Non-football question, but what's the day-to-day office like at Broncos HQ? Of course, now known as Centura Health Training Center.
Yep.
Who's the funniest? Eric, why don't you tell them what's going on?
Phil, we have a very collaborative environment. A lot of ideas thrown around.
I would probably say it's the best collaboration
That's what you would say.
in our department.
Yeah. It's a boy. It's kind of like this podcast, honestly,
It is.
in
It's
the
a
office.
little crazy.
Phil, I'll say that there's different kinds of funny, right?
That's true.
Yeah. I like to make a nice, sharp-witted, edgy comment.
Edgy.
Yeah. You get the people going.
I'm a little goofy. I
Yeah.
would say I try to get a little
Yeah.
bit goofy. I have some hot takes. I got some
Our
interesting
guy Ike,
perspectives.
Polo Ike,
Polo
he's
Ike?
funny. He lets us know what the millennials, or I guess Gen Z, right?
I think so.
What the youths are thinking.
What's happening? Yeah, like, hey, I saw something online and I don't understand the language that's being used.
Yeah. Ike, what does this
Please,
mean?
yeah, please
Explain this meme to me.
Yeah, a meme.
Yeah.
And then they explain it to us.
He, of course, ranked his top movies of all time yesterday in the office. Batman with Robert Pattinson was number one.
That's a nice movie, but it's not the number one movie of all time.
No.
That's insane.
I think all 10 of his movies were superhero movies.
Yeah.
Big Marvel guy.
He was a big fan of Baby Driver, which, of course, you started.
I started
You
that, yeah.
that. Yeah. So,
My twin, Ansel something.
yeah. I think he's a professional dancer.
Is he?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's graceful.
Good movie.
Yeah.
Not
Nice movie,
Not
but you're
the
right.
30th best movie of all
No,
time.
it's not. I think all of his movies have come out within the last 5 years.
Yeah, he said impossible to watch anything after 2010
Yeah,
or before 2010.
Before 2010. Okay, and then the last comment here. This one is from J. Prez Bronk,
We love Jay Prez Bronk.
which, of course, this person is responsible for much of our conversation in the last several weeks here.
Oh, this is the steak guy.
Steak, burger,
pizza.
Yeah.
Okay. What's he got for us now?
If you were in a burning building, which current Bronco would you choose to save you?
Oh.
Burning building.
Save me.
Who would you want to just knock down that door and come in and say, Eric, come with me if you want to live?
So you need strength.
Uh-huh.
You need courage.
Bravery.
You need a little bit of
Bravery.
speed, I think.
Yeah.
You got to be able to. So this
Strong.
person needs to be able to maybe break down a door and pick you up.
They'd have to pick you up and like put you over your shoulder.
Yeah.
I think because you would probably be passed out.
I'd be scared.
Yeah, and scared.
But you need somebody fast too.
Yeah.
Like if they're too big,
you can't
maybe
go
they-
too slow.
Yeah.
You cannot go too slow through the building.
And then,
Yeah.
and then courage. You need somebody who's not afraid.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just scanning really quickly through here.
Who would you want?
I'm gonna go with Kareem Jackson.
Really?
Yeah, he doesn't have the size.
Is
that,
he strong enough to pick you up like that?
Kareem, yeah. Why don't
Okay,
you go
good.
ask him?
I just
Yeah.
wondering. I was
Kareem,
thinking someone
he's
bigger.
got the
I was
speed.
thinking bigger.
He's, I think, probably the most fearless person on the team.
Oh yeah, that's true. He runs around with reckless abandonment.
If he needed to put his shoulder through a door to get to me, he would do it.
most definitely.
Yeah,
That's true.
and he's got the
think-
experience factor too.
Oh, like you think he's been saving a lot of people?
Yeah, well, he's been in the league for like 15 years now.
I was going to say Mike McGlinchey.
Oh,
Yeah, because one, he'd have no problem just lifting me right up.
Well, yeah.
There's no
you,
problem.
You have a different scenario
It
than
would
I
just
do.
be no problem. And then also, he makes a living protecting people.
Oh, that's
You
cute.
know what I'm saying? So
I just offensive
true.
lineman. I think maybe if it's like a small
he's moving
space,
fast.
is that hard to get through?
He'll blast through it.
Oh.
It doesn't matter.
Like my second choice, if he wasn't recovering from an injury, would have been Javonte Williams.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
He could just...
he's strong, he's fast,
Yeah.
he powers through.
He powers through. Yeah, that's true. And
But
he's very brave.
you might need a bigger guy because
I'm, of course,
like
1.5 people.
6'8".
He's 2 people.
He's as tall as you are, which is impressive.
He's taller than me.
You sure?
He's taller than me, yeah.
Of course, if someone needed to save Ben Swanson, like maybe Montreal Washington,
anybody could have, Marvin Mims could just scoop him right up and get out of there.
Get the littlest guy on the team to get in there.
There's no problem.
No.
Yeah, so I think I'd go McGlinchey.
McGlinchey,
And
okay.
you're going to go Kareem.
I like Kareem.
Okay. McGlinchey also has this sort of a fireman quality to him, you know.
Oh.
Yeah, he's just like, hey, nice to see you. You know, that's nice.
Important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's important to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need a certain sort of quality there. So.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Kareem.
Okay,
That's a good question.
Nice. Well, thank you very much, Jay Prez Bronk. We appreciate all of our YouTube commenters.
People should let us know what they think is the right answer to that. Who would you want to save you from a burning building?
Yeah.
I'm interested.
It's an important question.
Yeah.
Aric, let's get into our first topic here, and that is the safety position next to Justin Simmons. Justin Simmons, of course, an all-world safety, tied for the league lead last year in interceptions. Just a heck of a season by Justin Simmons, but playing next to him back there, we've grown accustomed to that position being held by Kareem Jackson. K-Jack coming back for another year. Excited about that. The veteran presence.
K-Back.
K-Back. That's true.
Yeah.
When he's not saving people from burning buildings, he's out on the football field making big plays.
That's right.
Big hits. Okay, but we're wondering, okay, is that his position for sure? Is he going to come in and just, that's a no-brainer there? Or, hey, is Caden Stern saying, it's my time now? The young guy's made some plays. If he can stay healthy, is it his time? Is a guy like J.L. Skinner.
Yeah.
Big, tall. He's taller than I am.
He's big.
He's big, dude.
I walked by him when they came in here to sign it. I was like, who's that?
You were scared a little.
I just didn't expect. I was like, a safety that's that big?
Yeah, he's tall, dude. An intimidating presence, maybe. Maybe I would say that.
I wasn't intimidated. I just thought he was tall.
He's got a physical presence. I mean,
yeah.
Well, it's hard to intimidate you. You know what I mean?
I don't really scare very easily.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe can he surprise some people? Maybe turn some heads and be like, hey, the Rook's got something here. What do you think, Aric? Tell me about that other safety position.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's I think, going to be one of the more interesting competitions of training camp. And, you mentioned those guys. You also got Delaren Turner-Yell, who was a rookie last year. You've got P.J. Locke, who re-signed, a really good special teams player. I do think that this is going to be a competition here in some ways, because when I think about what this team needed, like you think about Justin, he's this rangy safety, right? He intercepts the ball. He's a center fielder. I think teams that have one guy like that and one guy that'll come up and beat the snot out of you, that's a nice combo there. Mm-hmm. And so I love having Kareem Jackson back for that reason, because he'll come up and help in the run game. Not that Justin won't, but you'll remember when you get hit by Kareem Jackson.
Yeah. Philip Lindsay still remembers.
Yeah. That's
of course,
true.
that's when K-Jack was playing for the Texans.
It was a big hit.
That was probably the most memorable hit, I think,
you've ever seen in your life.
For K-Jack.
Yeah. That's true. It was kind of like that Reggie Bush hit, right?
A little bit, yeah.
I think between the physicality, the fact that he has such good chemistry with Justin, the fact that he's a veteran and knows this defense. He didn't play for VJ when he was here, but he's played with Vance Joseph before when Vance was in Houston. Obviously a quick learner of different defenses. To me, you would have to think he's still the favorite, right? And I also have a hard time, maybe I'm wrong, I would think if Kareem agreed to come back, he's probably coming back with the thought, hey, I'm going to be the starter here.
Yeah.
Now, that said, Caden Stern's very talented guy. We saw him, I think, 2 interceptions against the Colts.
He makes plays when he's out there.
He makes plays. We actually saw him in that game out there with Kareem Jackson.
Yeah.
And so you need more than one guy. You think about when you go into these sub packages like dime with 6 defensive backs, You have typically 3 corners, 3 safeties. That's
nice.
a chance to get all 3 of those guys
Could be nice.
on the field. I do think that as athletic as Caden Stearns is, and as much of a proclivity as he's shown to make plays, he's got to show he can stay healthy, like you mentioned, and he's got to show that he can handle being a full-time starter. I mean, he's still young in the fact that he hasn't played a ton of football here for the Broncos.
Third year, right? This is his third year? I think so.
Believe that it's his 3rd year, yeah, but hasn't played a ton of snaps because he battled injuries last year. His first year was the year that the Broncos went to Dallas. That was Teddy Bridgewater's
big game,
year.
yeah.
So, 3rd year. And then you talk about J.L. Skinner. He's a guy that's going to compete, I would imagine, for dime reps as well because he's so athletic. He can cover, I would imagine, a bigger tight end. So you've got 3 guys here who you probably would feel comfortable if they end up starting next to Justin Simmons. But, Phil, I just think – and listen, Sean Payton said everything is competition. Once you get here, it doesn't matter if you've been here a long time. It doesn't matter if we signed you, if we drafted you, whatever. But I have a hard time believing that Kareem doesn't have at least a little bit of an edge just because he's got that familiarity with Justin. He's a veteran. He's got all this experience. I would think that puts him in the lead there.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I would pencil in Kareem right now as the starter. And then unless something really impressive happens during training camp, preseason, something like that, like if Caden Stearns is just going crazy out there, then I think you could possibly switch it. But I would say that Kareem is probably as close to a lock as a starter as unless something happens, I would think. Otherwise, I just don't think he would come back like that.
Yeah.
So, but the fact that the Broncos didn't make that a priority right off the bat in the offseason and saying, we got to get this guy back, that tells you that maybe the door is a little bit open.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. And then I do think that with Kareem, he played every single snap, I believe, last year on defense.
He did.
So that's really impressive to me. I mean, his durability. There's been a few years now where we're like, does Kareem still have it? Is he still bringing it every single game? Well, he showed last year. It definitely is. So I think that I think I'm done doubting him until he gives me a reason to, because he's just produced. And I think that when he initially joined the Broncos, I was like, this is going to be nice for 2 years, have a veteran guy. But it's turned out to be a much longer deal here with Kareem. And he's played very well next to Justin Simmons. I think that especially at that safety position where you're making decisions really quickly, and you could have some blown coverage if you make the wrong decision, having that chemistry is really crucial. So if I'm the Broncos, I think having as much continuity from last year as possible is important. I mean, that was a good defense last year. Let's just try to keep what we can the same. I think that's important.
Yeah. I like what you said about not doubting him until he gives you a reason to, because with so many players, it's, well, I'm not going to trust you until you give me a reason to. And I think Kareem's earned that equity, so to speak,
definitely.
that, hey, until he shows you otherwise, I'm going to believe this guy can play at a high level. You mentioned not going after him immediately in free agency, but that's kind of what happened last year, right? And then he became a 17-game starter. They also didn't go out and target a safety in free agency.
That's true.
So they must have felt comfortable that he was a good option to come back. Listen, I don't know if there's a way you can save him at all in terms of, he obviously played a ton of snaps last year, but does Kareem play early downs? And then if you go to dime, do you bring Caden Stearns in, or even if it's nickel, do you swap Kareem and Caden Stearns out or Skinner out? I would imagine as competitive as Kareem is, you probably don't ever want to come off the field, but it'll be interesting to see what they do in these sub packages, in these rotations. Listen, we've seen Kareem for basically as long as he's been here get vet days and them take care of his body.
Yeah.
They'll have to continue to do that, I'm sure. But also to have a guy who's as smart as Kareem back there, and I think that's part of it that gets missed sometimes. He's like a coach back there. And so to have that, if you're Caden Stearns or you're J.L. Skinner, well, you have to not just, if you want to play, you have to not just match his athleticism and performance. You've got to know everything as well as he does.
Yeah.
So that if there's a tricky route concept, you're able to handle it. Because we rarely, not to say that the secondary doesn't get beat one-on-one, but it's rare that we see mental errors back there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think back to, maybe it was Vic Fangio's second. One year they had a lot of mental errors back there, and then after that it just kind of stopped.
Yeah.
And since then, it's been a really good group that has not had those issues, and part of that is Kareem. It's the continuity of having Simmons and Surtain and Kwan and Damari Mathis. I mean, why mess with that if it works?
Yeah.
Kareem is a big piece of that.
The other thing I think that Kareem brings is some personality.
Yeah, of course.
And that's important for a unit, for a DB's room. I think that he brings a little bit of comedic relief at times where, hey, maybe he can crack a joke here or there, and then that keeps things interesting in that room because it feels like there's some serious personalities in that room. Certainly Surtain, he's a very locked-in kind of guy. So maybe I think having a guy like Kareem kind of lighten the mood a little bit is important. Makes things fun. And then he also brings that fieriness during training camp. I mean, if you come out here to Centura Health Training Center, you're going to hear his voice because he's the one who's always talking on the sideline, keeping things just sort of energized. And that's important. I think that good teams have guys like that and a locker room guy, and it seems like a veteran presence there. So Kareem definitely a valuable member of this Broncos roster, but it is possible that a guy like Caden Stearns continues to make plays, stays healthy, and I think that maybe it's possible for him to get more playing time this year. You mentioned P.J. Locke. I mean, he had a great preseason last year. Yep. And then I think he was a little bit hurt at times, right, last year. And then, but also a valuable special teamer. So bringing him back. Drafted J.L. Skinner. He's, of course, dealing with an injury right now. Was not on the field last weekend, but a guy that's expected to be back, I believe, for training camp. So definitely an area to watch, but I would say that Kareem is penciled in there right now.
Was he not? I thought he was out there. Was he not?
He was out there, but he did not partake like
everybody did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, some of the individual stuff. Yeah. But
well, a good sign to be doing individual at this point.
Yeah.
Kareem just has the swagger that you need. I think you need an intimidator, an enforcer back there. Give a tight end or wide receiver second thoughts before they come across the middle. Yeah. Obviously, it's not like when Steve Atwater played, of course, but
big guy.
But you can still. Yeah, well, you can't hit people the same way now, but still, Kareem knows the line and will hit you as hard as he can right up to that line. I think there's an element that you need guys like that in this locker room. I would say two more things. One, we've talked a lot about Sean Payton type guys, right? And if Sean Payton wanted Kareem Jackson back, it shows you that Kareem Jackson is one of those guys, and it doesn't surprise me at all because he's smart and physical and works hard and is a good leader. And we don't see him like after games go nuts or freak out. He'll hold guys accountable, and I've heard him in the locker room have conversations with guys and say, "Hey, that wasn't good enough. We need to get better," or "Hey, keep your head up." That's an important thing for a team to have. So one, clearly a Sean Payton guy. And then two, you feel for these guys sometimes, right? That Kareem Jackson came here thinking, hey, I'm going to have a chance to have some more success. It's been 4 really difficult years. Who knows if the Broncos turn things around this year, how things go? Are they able to get to the playoffs this year? Is it more of a slow climb? I don't know what's going to happen. But I like seeing guys that have gone through this tough stretch get the chance, especially when you've been as invested as Kareem, get the chance to help be a part of the solution rather than, hey, you leave here with 4 years of no playoffs and 4 losing seasons, and then we're going to turn this thing around without you. I like that a guy like Kareem, he's been a captain, right? Yeah. A guy who's been a captain gets a chance to help turn things around. Yeah. It's hard. Like it felt like that was going to be last year. Hey, this was, he's back with a chance to win. So we'll see if this is the year for that to happen. So, but you do want Kareem to see some of that success and have some wins under his belt here at this stage in his career. And then if you it's way far away, but if you do get in a place where you need to win games or you have a chance to win and go to the playoffs, then having a guy like Kareem is great because he's been in the playoffs and he knows what those situations are like. And so I think you trust him in those scenarios too. So kind of works both ways. Have a veteran presence. Yeah, of course. For sure.
Talking about the roster here and some depth at positions here, Eric, let's move on to topic number 2 here. The Broncos bringing in a couple of XFL guys after playing last weekend during rookie minicamp. Ben DiNucci, the quarterback, he was with the Seattle Sea Dragons, I believe, Eric?
Wow.
Sea Dragons.
Sea Dragons, not Seahawks.
It's the Seattle Sea Dragons.
Okay.
Do you know your XFL teams?
Oh, I know some of them.
Okay. You know the DC Defenders?
I've heard of them.
Okay.
I know the Arlington Renegades.
They're your XFL champions.
Of course.
Of course. Houston Roughnecks.
St. Louis Battlehawks.
Battlehawks. The Orlando Guardians.
I didn't know that one.
Okay. San Antonio Brahmas.
Okay.
I think that's how you say that. Brahmas. Vegas Vipers.
Oh.
Do you think that these names sound like just kind of ridiculous because they're foreign? Or do you think that, like, say for the NFL, like the names, you're just so used to them because you grew up with them that they sound normal? You know what I mean? But, like, for some reason, like, the Seattle Sea Dragons sounds like a little bit silly. But do you think it's just because you just don't know it?
I think like the Roughnecks is a little bit
silly.
But I think, like, if you were to look at some of these NFL teams and you said the Miami Dolphins.
That's probably silly, right? Initially,
silly.
it's like, oh, that's silly.
Or like the Green Bay Packers. You'd be like,
yeah, what
is that?
Yeah.
Or the Raiders. That's kind of a silly name. So, I think
Buccaneer.
Exactly.
Silly logo, for a long time there.
Right.
So
I think it's just that it's not
it's
familiar.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I think if you like the Vipers, that absolutely sounds like a name. You'd just be like, yeah, that's a great name.
Yeah. I think anytime there's a new name, it takes a while
like
to
the
just
Kraken.
The Kraken.
Like, oh, that's kind of weird,
what?
but
yeah, it just takes a little bit of time to get used to it.
Yeah, and plus, I do think if you're the XFL, you can't settle for like Mustangs or like Bears because or Wildcats.
You got to be a little edgier.
Yeah, you got to do something. People are like, what are the Vipers? That sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, and you got to have cool logos and that kind of, let's buy the hat. That's a cool logo.
Oh yeah, of course.
You got to do that.
Like the Savannah Bananas.
Exactly. Yeah, like sort of like minor league baseball teams.
Right.
They kind of have the fun. They have fun with their names.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so Ben DiNucci.
Yep.
Which I've just learned is DiNucci.
That's correct.
And then also Jacques Patrick.
Yep.
Running back. Second in the league, Eric, in rushing yards last year. So the Broncos bringing in those two guys. What do you think about adding some XFL players, some guys who've just got done with their seasons and then now coming straight into the offseason program here?
Yeah, I like it. I think obviously it's probably tough on them, probably tougher on Patrick than DiNucci, just given the position that he plays. But essentially you've got this whole pool of players, right, whether in the XFL or not, of guys that are probably close to being able to make an NFL roster, and you've just seen Patrick be a lot better and DiNucci be a lot better than all those guys that are quote-unquote fringe NFL guys. And so that gives you a sense of, hey, maybe these guys have something to them. They have more tape on them than an undrafted rookie, for example, or a rookie tryout player. You just have more of a sample size. We've seen these. I think DiNucci has one NFL start. Patrick, I think, has a couple games of NFL experience. Yeah. So you don't have a lot of NFL tape, but you've now seen them perform against guys who you thought were comparable skill level, and they've had a lot of success. You mentioned Patrick, second in the league in rushing yards. DiNucci was first in passing yards and completions, second in passing touchdowns.
20 touchdown passes for DiNucci.
Yeah.
Patrick, 443 rushing yards.
And so, I think it's great. And I also think given the positions they're at, they've got a chance here to do something.
Yeah.
You talk about the running back room. Obviously, Javante's coming back from an injury.
Supposed to be ready. That was the big news last weekend is that Champagne said that they're expecting
it's all kind of
him
like
to be ready. Because he mentioned the PUP.
Right.
Does not want Javante to, if he can, not want him to go on to PUP.
Which, of course, when you're on PUP, my understanding is that you can't do walkthroughs. You can't do...
you miss a lot.
You can't do any, like, individual. You can't do... There's a lot of things that you cannot do. So I would just it doesn't mean necessarily that Javonte is going to be in there doing team period, full speed immediately.
No.
But there is certainly a gap between PUP and what you're able to do if you're just not practicing.
A little limited.
So just throwing that out there. But you've got Samaje Perine, good player. You signed Tony Jones at running back, but there's a chance here, I would think, for a guy to make an impression.
Yes.
You've got some other young Tyreek McAllister. You got some young guys on the roster there at running back, but a chance for him to, and I think he's got some speed, right?
I believe so. Yeah, he's 6'3", 243 pounds.
Big guy.
Previously had some NFL time with the Bengals, 49ers, Panthers, and Ravens.
Yep. Some practice squad experience. And you take a chance on this guy with the 90-man roster. You figure it out. You see how does he play in the preseason if you get to that point. But certainly a chance, I would think, and good insurance if Javonte's not ready for whatever reason. And then DiNucci, Phil, I have no idea what Sean Payton is thinking from a quarterback perspective. Not that sounded bad. I don't know how he wants this room to shape up.
Yeah, the whole room.
And so obviously Russ is your starter. I would think that Stidham would be the backup probably no matter what. But again, you talk about this competition. If somebody lights it up, who knows? But then you've got a relatively unproven guy in Jarrett Guarantano, and then you've got DiNucci. And if teams typically go into camp with 4 quarterbacks so that you don't overwork anybody's arm. So it's not unusual that they signed a 4th quarterback. But the question will be with roster construction, well, does Sean Payton want 3 quarterbacks on the active roster? Does DiNucci or Guarantano do enough to show him, hey, I'm the 3rd guy and I'm deserving of a roster spot? If that's the case, then you'd have to think DiNucci does have a chance to compete for a roster spot. If it's already decided they're only keeping 2, it's obviously going to be difficult to unseat Guarantano and Stidham.
Yeah.
Not impossible, but I would think difficult. But if they're open to keeping 3, then absolutely DiNucci could come out here in the offseason, preseason, show some things and make his case to be on this roster. And that would be a great success for him coming from the XFL to getting back on a 53.
Most definitely. I really am a big fan of the XFL just because I think that making it to the NFL, not everybody's just ready to come to the NFL immediately after college, I don't think. And it can be hard, to just have your dreams cut short. Maybe you still have this talent that just needs a little bit of development. You know what I mean? And, of course, you could be on a practice squad for a little bit there. But a lot of times I feel like these other leagues, like NBA, you could go play overseas. You could play in the G League. Baseball has a huge minor league program. Hockey, there's other leagues that you can get involved in. But with football, it just sort of felt like, well, if you're not ready to play in the NFL, you're just done.
Yep.
And you're done playing here. But hopefully the XFL can catch on a little bit more and have some success just because I think that this is a good thing, to be able to have guys go work on their skills actually playing out there. And then, obviously the Broncos talent evaluators are taking this stuff seriously, watching those games and evaluating the talent there and then bringing them in a tryout basis. And they obviously did enough last weekend, DiNucci last weekend, of course, threw an interception to Drew Sanders right after Sean Payton was done talking to Broncos owner Greg Penner about, hey, this DiNucci guy, he's been playing pretty well. Boom, pick 6 right out there. And then the big joke was that DiNucci has a job waiting for him as a Walmart greeter, Eric.
Sean likes his jokes.
He does. And he's got... he's got an edge about his jokes, too, that are make it kind of, they're pretty funny.
I mean, if you're DiNucci, you're probably laughing about it, but you're probably
he laughed about it in the locker room, but then you also kind of think twice about it.
Yeah. Right.
I like that.
No, I think you got to turn over every possible stone here to find guys, and it's just another example of that.
I was going to say that Sean Payton, his big message to the media last week was the worst thing that could happen during a rookie minicamp is that you say goodbye to a guy who you don't think has it, and then he goes to another team and turns out to be a great player. Sean Payton has preached a lot over and over here that it doesn't matter how you get here. If you perform and you play well here, you're going to be around. And he mentioned in the past that, I think it was Pierre Thomas with the Saints. He came in. They had drafted a running back in the 4th round. Thomas played better, and they cut the guy that they drafted. So it doesn't matter. If you come in here and you play well, all you need is a chance. And I think that resonates with the guys. You know, when that message gets delivered there, I think it goes through the locker room and guys believe it. And I think that just helps the whole roster, especially the back end, obviously, which I think for the Broncos, flipping over that back end of the roster, making it stronger, getting better on special teams, having a better depth, that's an important piece of the puzzle here, and I think the Broncos are doing a good job with that.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how it all plays out. I think the roster was better top to bottom last year too. I just think there were so many injuries that
that's true.
It was tough to overcome. Like when you lost 30 guys, doesn't matter how good your roster was. You've now got guys who are third string starting, and so you do have to have some element of having a healthy team there. But yeah, they're doing their best to put together a great group here.
Feels like the running back position is always like that, where like a guy you don't know much about.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Like running back, always like Terrell Davis is a 6th round pick. He's a Hall of Famer. You know, like what do you think it is about the running back position that?
There's a lot of talented guys.
C.J. Anderson undrafted, and then he's starting in a Super Bowl. I mean,
hard to evaluate, probably based on college tape. Guys, a lot of teams, even in college, share carries, so it's hard to get an impression of who's good. And then just such a physical position, different in the NFL than it is in college. So it's a hard spot to evaluate.
Yeah. It's just sort of interesting that position really translates to these hidden gems coming in and making a squad. And yeah, Patrick could certainly do that. I think a lot of us assumed that the Broncos were going to maybe target a guy in the draft. They did not do that. So I think there's an opportunity there. And then, like you mentioned, DiNucci, just I think his experience, makes it an interesting thing. Is just like this guy's played some football at this level, and so could he be a valuable member to a quarterback room? I think it's possible.
Yeah.
So certainly a guy to watch, and if he plays in the preseason, maybe he can do some things there, and you never know.
Yeah, it'll be exciting to see kind of how it plays out.
What they do in New Orleans, obviously Drew, they had a Beckham, and then they also had Taysom Hill, right? So
yeah, I mean
I don't know if you count him as a third guy.
I don't know.
He played other positions, so it wasn't really.
I don't know going back. Well, and that was different because they had 3 quarterbacks active, I think.
Yeah.
That's even more rare.
Yeah.
I don't know going back before Taysom Hill what their roster construction was, but it would be interesting to look into.
That's something the NFL's looked into, is like being able to maybe have an additional quarterback active on game day, just so you can avoid a situation.
I don't think it was voted on, was it?
I thought it got tabled. Maybe you're of course against this. You're not a huge fan. You're not.
Well, I mean, just you could kind of say like, okay, well, why not 4 quarterbacks or 5 quarterbacks?
Keep it going.
Yeah, like we saw 3 quarterbacks get hurt for.
Was it
the
Niners,
Dolphins
right? At the end of last year was bad. Yeah, the 49ers in the championship game.
Yeah, so you could really just be like, why do each team should have 10 quarterbacks?
Could be nice.
You can do that if you want to. That's part of the, in my opinion, the strategy of the game is who do you have up and who do you have down.
Yeah, of course. All right, Aric. And then the last thing maybe to talk about is just that we believe OTAs are coming up here next week, and the offseason program ramping up a little bit. They got, about a little less than a month left to go before they break for the summer?
3 weeks of OTAs and then minicamp.
Yeah, exactly.
So about a month to go.
What do you think, what are you going to be paying attention to here in terms of once we get a chance to see these guys all out on the field, rookies mixing in with the vets this week, then they'll be out on the field, and we'll get a chance to observe there. What are you hoping to see? Yeah,
I'm not going to overreact to anything. I think is important based on the last,
of course,
especially last year. There was last year was like, oh my gosh, they look incredible in OTAs. Well, yeah, let's see you later. But
I think there was a little bit of a wow, I can't believe Russell Wilson's wearing the Broncos uniform and then that kind of thing.
Yeah. But I will look to see how does Sean Payton manage a practice? Who's he involved with? How much does he work with Russell Wilson? What does the defensive group look like? How do some of these position coaches that we haven't seen before, how do they work with these guys? We've talked a lot about accountability and discipline and that sort of stuff, you should be able to see some of that in a practice, right? If a practice is tightly run, if it's, is there music? I think there was no music last week at rookie minicamp. Are these going to be demanding? It's hard to have a demanding OTA practice, I guess, but as much as you can, what are those like? How do the rookies mix in? Is Mims getting reps with these guys? Is Drew Sanders getting run there at inside linebacker? Those are all things you can start to see during OTAs and minicamp and get a sense, a little bit of a taste before training camp. But to me, it's more about how they work as opposed to what I see on the field.
Yeah, exactly. I think that when you have a new coaching staff come in, there's just like a different feel out there. And so you just want to pick up on what's the vibe, how are these guys being coached, that kind of thing. I mean, immediately last year, you could feel like there's just a sort of a different vibe with Hackett, certainly compared to how things were with Vic Fangio. Now, with Sean Payton running things out there, what's that feel like? What's the vibe? Vance Joseph was not there last weekend on the day that we were able to observe. His daughter was graduating.
Yeah,
congratulations.
Natalie, I believe.
Yeah.
Congrats to her.
So obviously that is an important.
Takes priority.
Yes. But yeah, just Vance being back out there coaching the defense, just what's the feel like? What are some of the drills that they're running? How are things structured? Stuff to just pay attention to there. And then I think more valuable for us is just hearing from the guys a little bit. And
of course,
just getting a sense of like what the messaging has been like and how the culture around the building has changed and that type of thing. So
I mean, last year you got the music, you've got Nathaniel Hackett taking handoffs from Russell Wilson, you've got
shorter practices, no one-on-ones.
There were I think it was OTAs, not training camp, but I could be wrong here. You'd have coaches trying to catch punts as kind of like a fun exercise. Yeah. I would expect it's a little more serious.
Yeah.
That would be my guess. I don't know for sure, but I would think that it's going to be, hey, we're working here.
Yeah.
And then, the other thing that I guess we haven't mentioned yet is we have no idea we've seen some guys around the building, but I certainly haven't had a checklist out saying he's here, he's not here. So
yeah, of course.
These are all voluntary, but it's always interesting to see what is participation like, who is here, who is not here.
Yep.
It tells you something sometimes, and it sounded like I asked Sean Payton back. I think it was a pre-draft press conference, and he was happy with attendance and who was here. But
you asked him, you drilled him on that. Huh?
It'll be interesting to see. Like he said, Randy Gregory's been here and working. But some of these big name guys that, like Melvin Gordon, of course, was not an OTA guy.
Yeah.
We don't know about the new free agents.
That's right. We're not sure who's been participating, so we'll have a better idea.
Who, from an injury standpoint, anybody limited?
How much are they able to do?
Those are all important. Yeah, like is Tim Patrick out there doing stuff? Or, those are things worth noting at least.
We do not know the answer to that question.
Yeah. And even if we did, we can't tell you.
And then also you can just tell if some guys go away for the off season.
Yeah.
Just get after it in the weight room.
Yeah, especially kind of year 1 to year 2.
Attacking it with the same sort of vigor that you like to.
Right.
They're in there, they see you across the way, like, I got to step my game up.
Yeah. Like, does Nick Bonito come back looking different?
Huge. Is he just,
I don't know.
Yeah. Is he just been drinking raw eggs, Yum. Yeah. Is he like Rocky out there?
Right.
You'll have an idea. Yeah. I think some of these guys, after their first year, especially like a guy like Benito, you say, okay, I got to change my body here a little bit.
Is Dulcich's hair even longer?
I would assume so.
Yeah.
He does not use any product. He just conditioner.
That's beautiful.
I'm very interested in that. I've talked to him about it a little bit.
I know.
I'm curious.
You want more?
I need, If he could just give me like 1 hour of his time.
I just need 1 hour of your time.
He would do that?
To talk about your hair.
Yeah. What if he's like leaving for the day? He's about to head out to a parking lot and I'm just sort of waiting for him there. Mm-hmm. I would just, hey, do you have like 1 hour?
You've got like one of those salon chairs set up.
Teach me.
You're like, show me what to do.
Teach me.
Yeah.
That's what I just want to know.
True.
Yeah. Maybe he'd do it.
Maybe 50-50 chance.
All right. Well, yeah, that's right. He'll either do it or he won't do it. That's exactly right.
Yep.
50-50 chance. Yeah, that's right. Aric, any shout-outs that you'd like to get to here?
Go ahead.
Of course, let's shout out Nikola Jokic,
Yeah.
Jamal Murray, KCP, Aaron Gordon. You want me to keep? Should I keep
Sure.
going? Or,
Yeah, keep going.
I mean, what do you want? Bruce Brown. I can give him a shout.
Jeff
Michael
Green.
Porter Jr., Uncle Jeff. I mean,
Yep.
we could just
Michael
keep
Malone.
Michael Malone. Yeah, of course. The entire Nuggets
Whoever
roster.
that assistant coach they kept showing next to Malone.
Very much, yes. They had a scout at the Celtics Heat game.
Oh, wow.
They had a scout there.
What if
We're not getting ahead
what
of
if the
ourselves.
Lakers use that as motivation? It's like the Bengals with the T-shirts.
I think it just makes
the
sense to
tickets.
have an advanced scout there. The Broncos
Listen.
send scouts to advanced games all the time.
They don't. It doesn't come out though.
Well, in an NBA arena, it's just a little bit easier to be seen, I think. But
True.
yes, it's just one game, Aric, as we're recording this. Game 2.
Yeah, your mood could be
Tonight?
far worse tomorrow.
I hope not. We'll have to see. Of course, you're rooting for the Lakers.
I enjoy watching LeBron James play basketball. Sorry, folks.
I think that you could have a healthy amount of respect for LeBron
Sure.
and what he means to the game of basketball. I'll say this. For a guy like LeBron, the amount of hype coming in when he was in high school,
Yep.
for him to come into the league and outperform that amount of hype and live up to expectations and exceed them, that is truly amazing.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. So I think that you can have a healthy respect for what LeBron, what he is, what he was, what he's meant to the game, but also still be like, we need to beat him.
Sure. Big one tonight. If the Nuggets go up 2-0,
Ooh, what?
I'd be a little nervous.
Really?
But 1-1, then you feel then
got a
probably the
defender.
Nuggets are like, uh-oh.
You got to defend home court, I
Yeah.
think. And the Nuggets, of course, have not lost a game in the playoffs at home.
Nope. I don't think the Lakers have either.
They've not lost a game at home. No.
So kind of a
You got to defend your home court.
yeah.
Yeah. Of course, the Nuggets all season long have been very good at
Yes.
it. So
Sure.
this is not like sort of a fluky type of thing.
No.
So I just want to shout out to them. I think it's very exciting. You can feel the energy in this city.
I
You
feel
go
it.
around,
I feel
you
it.
go grocery shopping, a lot of Nuggets T-shirts, Nuggets hats.
I'm just driving around and I'm like, oh
Haven't
my gosh,
seen
I
it.
can feel the Nuggets energy.
I do. I can.
Yeah.
I can just feel it.
Like I'm sitting in rush hour traffic and I'm like,
I can feel
and I
the
can just
energy.
feel that there's Nuggets fans around me also mad that they're sitting in traffic.
It's just it's exciting, I think, Aric.
Yeah, it's
same
very
way
exciting.
the same way with the Avs last year. You could feel them, the pulse of the city. Everybody's talking about it. Everywhere you go, people are talking about the Nuggets now. It's exciting. I like it.
It's not like when the Broncos are good, which is, I just hope we get back there.
That's true.
It's not the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Nuggets. I mean, it's a Broncos town.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that is due to the long history of winning for the Broncos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Probably.
But I do think that
People love football though.
that's true.
people
People
love
love
football.
football. That's true. That's true. I mean, those championship games, the playoff games, it's hard to beat that sort of atmosphere.
Yeah.
You can't beat that. So, but I will say Ball Arena has been
Yeah, it's
electric.
been great. Great fan base. Swanson, they're just cheering up a storm.
Swanson was there. Yeah, that's true. I don't know if he's recovered from game 1.
Maybe that's where he is.
Any other shout outs for you?
You can shout out Liz Gerald's, of course.
Of course.
Some good community
Good work
efforts
in the
going on.
community. Yeah.
Very exciting.
I know that one time we had a fan calling Ramon Cezanne. I think.
Yeah. What's happened to them?
Well, are the Broncos going to do maybe at least one joint practice possibly?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. That's the hope and the goal and the plan.
I wonder if Ramon Cezanne is happy about that.
I would think maybe.
Maybe he could call in.
Yeah, that could be good.
Eric, I do have one other thing I have to mention here before we
gosh.
say goodbye. Do you remember last week we were talking about how to spell Phil? And my friend, his kid came over.
Oh, sure, the
and,
kid's friend, yeah.
Shout out to, his name's Elliot.
Okay.
I believe on the show, I said, I think that he's 4, maybe 5. Turns out he's 7.
Oh.
So I was just
Did your friend listen to the show?
Yeah.
Oh, and he was like,
Yeah,
man,
and
you don't
he
even
was
know how
like,
old my
"You
kid
don't know
is?
how yeah, and I felt
That's
bad about
awkward.
it. Yeah, it was bad.
Wow. Brutal.
So a shout out to Elliot.
Shout out Elliot. Almost
Yeah.
old enough to listen to the show. What's your
Well, he's been
PG-13?
listening a little bit. Yeah, he's been listening.
Oh.
So he's a big fan.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he says Eric is his favorite. So
Smart kid. Smart kid.
So yeah, shout
Elliot
out
with an
there.
E.
With an E.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, you're Aric with an A.
Yeah.
Would you say that makes you
Oh, yeah.
anti-E or?
No.
No, you're just pro-A.
Pro-A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can love one without hating the other.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's room.
There's room for
in this
everybody.
world. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Yeah. All right, Aric, anything else you'd like to get to?
I don't think so.
We'll be back, of course, next Thursday.
Yep.
Maybe we'll talk about what we saw out there.
Oh, could be really
What do you
nice.
think? What do you think? That could be nice.
Yeah.
Huh? And maybe Swanson will be back. I don't know.
We'll see.
I don't know.
We'll see.
I don't know. It depends on what the weather's like next
Yeah,
week.
that's true.
So, okay, that's going to do it for us. For Aric DiLalla, I am Phil Milani. You've been listening to
The Neutral Zone.